try this again. Alright, what's up everyone? My name is K.Short. Welcome to a video that I'm not going to name, but that actually, I'm already saying it wrong because the audience members are making me nervous. I have an audience for the first time. We are in Flagstaff, Arizona at Northern Arizona University, and I have some sisters and friends watching me, which is kind of weird, but it's okay. We're going to get through this video because I got to get used to this anyways, because one day it's going to be stands upon stands. Oh good, we're gonna lock it. So this video is called Advice I'd Give to My 21-Year-Old Self. So first piece of advice I'd give myself is I would have tried more things, especially during spring break, winter break, things like that. If you see some of my old videos as a student leader, I always tell people to take advantage of their breaks, especially if you want to like better yourself and do self-improvement. But as a 21-year-old, I wish I would have had more fun. I don't think I had as much fun as the typical 21-year-old did. Or even just traveling a little bit more, having friends from all over the world and being able to visit them, especially during a time when I didn't have a lot of responsibilities or bills. All we had to worry about was doing our homework. I remember being 21, I was in the process about changing my degree again. I was going to essentially become a teacher, but for some reason that didn't feel right to me. So when I was changing my major to something else, I didn't know what to change it to. I was asking advice from everybody. I was looking all over the internet of what to do to become a talk show host. And the thing that I would have done differently is I wouldn't have asked that many people. I would have just done it, made a decision, as opposed to being so stagnant and wasting all that time. So I didn't even change my major until my 4th year of college. And I just wasted a lot of time figuring out what everyone else wanted from me. So if I could go back to when I was 21, I would have just made a decision and would have just gone from there, because I know I would have figured it out. Would have figured it out eventually. Alright, so number 3 is to not care about what other people think. And what I mean by that is being in a school that was predominantly white people, I noticed my brownness a lot. I remember just feeling very out of place and feeling very different. I was also one of the very few people on this campus that identified as a queer woman of color that also dressed masculine, and I just felt very isolated from a lot of my peers. And I just remember thinking so heavily about that, just remembering like I'm not white, I'm the only brown person in this class, I am different from all these other people. And I just remember that holding me back a lot and being upset about it a lot of the times because of the privileges that they also had. Just thinking about what people thought about me when I'm walking by, thinking, oh, they're judging me, or they're stereotyping me, or they're just staring at me. Like I remember walking through the Union and just feeling like I was on a runway and these people just staring at me because I look so different. And I remember a lot of that holding me back from not wanting to engage with others, not wanting to hang out with white folks, or not wanting to be around people that didn't look like me. And so if I could give advice to my 21-year-old self, again, I'm literally talking to myself, just to not care about what those people think and to not allow those perceptions to hold me back. Especially because there's a lot of great and amazing people that I held back on during that time in my life, and that I probably could have been really good friends with. But because I had those perception of them having a perception of me, then I was held back from a great experience. So, number 4 is be single. I'm not saying be single at 21 necessarily, but I'm saying be single in your early 20s. It's a huge developmental age, and if I could go back, I would have been single in my early 20s. Completely single, not necessarily, maybe 1 relationship, 2 relationships, but I definitely had more relationships that I needed. I think I could have learned those lessons with less partners. I'm not saying that I regret any of the partners that I had, and I know that each person brought something different to the table, but for myself, y'all already know that I've been in a lot of relationships as is. I just wish I would have been in less relationships during my college years, because I know that it took a lot of time away from me and the relationships I could have had and the connections I could have had and the relationship with myself. Really quick, I had to elaborate a little bit on the being single part, because that's how passionately I feel about it. And the reason why I say that is because I truly believe that it's a gift to be single in your 20s in general. I think it's definitely a time for us to learn about ourselves, to grow with ourselves, to be in a relationship with ourselves. And that's definitely probably the biggest piece of advice I could give to anyone in their 20s, is to learn about themselves and to have that best friend relationship with yourself, so that we don't have to rely on other people, whether it be partners or friends or family, throughout the rest of our lives. Because no matter what, it's always just gonna be us. It ain't gonna be nobody else sitting in that grave with us. Number 5 were the pieces of advice I'd give to my 21-year-old self at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona, is when given the chance to reinvent yourself. When I first came to college and remembering who I was in high school, I wasn't the most outgoing person. I just remember I didn't like who I was when I was in high school. I felt a little bit shyer than usual. I didn't feel like I was able to be myself because, you know, we were growing up and we were trying to fit in with a whole bunch of people. But the moment I got to college, that was the opportunity for me to reinvent myself. I wanted to be the person that I've always wanted to be. I wanted to be that confident person. I wanted to be that person that would talk to everybody. I wanted to be that person that was super involved. So given the opportunity to reinvent yourself, do it. Be the person that you've always wanted to be, because especially when you go into places and spaces where nobody knows you, you can be whoever you want to be. And so that's exactly what I did when I got to college. So speaking of that, because that was when I was 18, so I'm gonna tell you what happened when I was 21. When I was 18 to 21, I went by a completely different name. I'm not sure if many of you all know because there's no YouTube videos out there with me using that name, but I had this alter ego named Jaden, and Jaden was the highest, most confident person I could ever be. Even though Jaden was cool and Jaden gave me that confidence, and Jaden, you know what I mean, talked to everybody and was super popular on campus, Jaden was still not the best version of myself. So at 21, I remember having this conversation in this room with my SSS advisor, Kevin Chase, and telling him, like, I love who Jaden is and who the person I became and the confidence I've gained since I've been in college, but there's still a part of me that's still very sensitive. It's still very loving and welcoming and inclusive and still very weak and vulnerable, and I want that person back. And I remember having this conversation with him and saying, I think I want to go back to my legal name. But I remember asking people on Facebook if, hey, by the way, if I were to start going by this name again, would you respect me and call me that instead of the name that you initially knew me as? And a lot of people gave me a lot of good feedback. And so even though it was mid-transition and halfway through my college career, I started going by Kathleen again, and people respected me for that. So I think recognizing to not be afraid of change at any given moment in time, and reinventing yourself can happen at any time. It doesn't have to be through huge transitional times. So don't be afraid to change, don't be afraid to evolve, and don't be afraid to continue to progress forward. So that is the 5-piece advice I would give to my 21-year-old self. I hope that you take these all into consideration. Again, this is what I give advice to myself. So everything I say is on the table. Take what you want, whatever works for you. But thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, make sure to subscribe to my channel and to give this video a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, go ahead and put them in the comments below. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I'll put those links also. And if you have any suggestions for any other videos, make sure to comment those below, or just find me on social media and let me know through the DMs in a good way, not a nasty way. And if you would like to see any different kinds of videos, let me know also. And I feel like there's something else I need to do. And thank you all for watching.